So Spain is a parliamentary monarch, and at the moment, their current monarch is Juan Carlos, who was born January 5th, 1938, in Rome, Italy. And his parents wanted a better life for him, and so he went to live with his grandfather, who at the time was the dictator of Spain. And in November 22nd, 1975, he became the king after his grandfather. And on May 14th, 1962, he married Sophia of Greece and had a son and two daughters. In 1972, he competed in the Olympic mixed three-man keelboat and finished 15th. His greatest feat was changing Spain's government from a dictatorship to a monarchy, or a democracy, which ended up being the parliamentary monarch that it is today. And in 2007, he was voted the greatest Spaniard of all time, and that's also including Columbus. So he was pretty epic like that. And then the top actor in Spain is Javier Bardem, who was born on March 4th, 1969. He started acting at the age of 6. His first film, he played the scoundrel, and it was El Picardo. He always dreamed one day to be an artist. He even went to the Madrid's Escuela de Artes, which is just a fancy art school. But then he really quickly learned that he had absolutely no art talent whatsoever. And so he went back to acting, which he won an Oscar for his role in No Country for Old Men, and dedicated his Oscar to his mother, who graciously accepted it.
That was a good movie.
It was. And the very first historical figure, the historical hero, was Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar.
Oh, low battery.
Oh, it'll keep going. Or also, he's also named El Cid. He was born in the 1040. Yeah, so he's considered Spain's first hero. In 1065, he became the commander of the Royal Army. And in 1081, he led an unauthorized military raid into Toledo, which at the time was under King Alfonso's protection, which is the king he was underneath. So probably a bad idea to do that. And so he after this raid, he was banished out of the kingdom, so he had to kind of fend for himself. He ended up killing Alfonso and going under his name, so he ended up owning a castle basically, but out of somebody else's name. And so he ended up owning a castle, and then he was the independent ruler of that castle all the way up until his death on July 10th, 1099. So he's a pretty crazy dude and did a lot in his life. And the Spanish flag, it has two red stripes with a yellow stripe in the center of it, and it has the national coat of arms on the side right there. And the yellow is for generosity, the red is for hardness, strength, bravery, and valor. And then the holidays. They have a lot of holidays, and there's a lot of restriction to them. Like certain days you can, certain days you can't do them. But for Navidad, December 21st, day before Christmas, all the families get together and just feast around the nativity scene, and this is just kind of preparation for Christmas, so everybody's together feasting, nativity scene's going on. And then another religious holiday is the Assumption of the Virgin, which is August 15th. It's actually a Catholic holiday to where Mary was taken to heaven. Supposedly it happened on that day, like exactly, but then they're not exactly sure. So, and then the national holidays, they have the Workers' Day, which is May 1st. it celebrates good economics and social achievements. And then they have the National Day on October 12th, which celebrates when Christopher Columbus landed on America. So even though they're not America, they still celebrate when he landed.
Cool.
Which is pretty cool. And then the geology of Spain. The highest point is Pico de Tierra, which is 3,718 meters, and it's in the Canary Islands, which is over in this area over here. And you can't see it on this map because it's a little too small. And then the lowest point is the Atlantic Ocean, which you could probably guess is 0 meters. The biggest river is the Elbre River, which is this river right here. It comes across over by France. And then one of my favorite historical sites is the La Sagrada Familia. It's an iconic church in Barcelona with the UNESCO status, and it is the final resting place of Antoni Gaudí. And that ends up being in Barcelona, which is right in this area here, right tributary there. The next historical site that really popped out at me was the Villa. And the Villa was founded in the 11th century, and it was built to protect the Spanish territories from the Moors. And the Moors lived around when El Cid lived, and when they were completely sent out of Spain, they actually completely lost the Villa. And they recently found a Villa when they were looking for a mummy of some sort. And so that ends up being right between Salamanca and Madrid. And so that's right in that line of mountains. So the mountain range right there. And their currency, as you can see, it would be amazingly hard to replicate because it's covered in a paper or like a plasticky film, and it's got so many different colors and different shapes hidden inside of it. And the coins actually have 2 different metals. And so yeah, everything is really hard to replicate.
Very cool.
And then €1 is equal to about $1.27 for the US dollar, so their economy is doing better than ours. Quite substantially.
Yeah.
And so these are the sources that I used. And hopefully you learned enough about Spain, so if you ever want to visit there, you'll know all the background you'll ever need to know. And